Good afternoon, traders. It's a very good afternoon here in Dubai. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Sorry to disturb you on this weekend, but you may want to watch this, right? For those YouTubers who have never seen me, or if you're going to be seeing this for the very first time, my name is Daniel Mangal. You can check out my channel and you will see some very, very interesting stuff there. Before we go further, I should let you know that we have a training course starting next Monday. If any one of you who have been following me and like the stuff I do would like to join, or if you're a trader who's struggling, not being able to make success, you don't know where to trade, you don't have anybody to trade with, you're alone, you're confused, but you would like to learn this stuff, you would like to have a group of successful traders to trade with, you can join us. We have that. We have a group of very, very good traders, excellent traders who have been trained to trade, who are with us for a number of years, who are making money, and we have live sessions that we do, up to 5 daily live sessions. You don't get that in any group. I mean, not in a single group are you going to have 5 live daily trading sessions where we come in and we said, hey, this is the trade, this is the entry, this is the stop, this is where we're targeting, and this is how we're going to manage the trade if it doesn't go. So not all the trades you click are going to go. And if you can reduce your stop, and if you can reduce your loss on all the trades, which means if you had a 1% stop, you don't have to let it go 1%. You can get out a 1/4%. You could get out for break even. Most times we do, when the trade doesn't go, you get out for break even. What if it continues to go? Well, there's strategies of how we get right back into it. Right? You may have questions on what the chart is doing, what you should do with your trades. You don't know, you are in a set of trades, you don't know what to do with them, you're confused. You would like to have a group of people who are pretty good at this and would help you, tell you, well, here, maybe you want to hold on to this, maybe you want to take this off, maybe you want to take a small loss here, maybe you want to move the stop on this one. All of those stuff you can get in our trading room. So when you join us for the course, you're not only going to get 6 weeks of training and practical trading and practical training, where we give you all the theory, we show you how it's done, we let you do it and show you how it's done. But then after that, you get follow-up. You get lifetime follow-up, lifetime access for free. Now, there are very, very few groups out there who are going to allow you to stay in the group for free for the rest of your life, to make sure that you're trading live and make sure you're trading well. Most of them are going to charge you a monthly fee. Do you know why they charge you a monthly fee to stay in their group? They don't want you to stay there. I was in a group like that when I started, when I was looking for a group to learn with to trade. I had to pay $200 a month to stay in that group. And since I wasn't making money, and not only me, nobody was making money in that group, we all eventually left very soon. I left after 6 months. I paid for a whole year. I paid $5,000 for the training course and a whole year of access. And I left in 6 months because it was a waste of my time. So, and I know there's a lot of groups now who started to do what I did, give you lifetime access, stopped it. They're actually charging you a monthly fee. Why? They want you to leave. They don't want you to stick around. Because whatever they're showing you, or if they do show you anything at all, it doesn't give results, it's not making sense. And they don't want you to come back to ask questions. We want you to stay here for life. We want you to ask questions every day. The first thing I start in every session that I do, anyone has any questions, anyone is in any trade you want me to look at. That's how I start every live session. Do you have any questions? Are you in any trade you want us to look at, to advise you on that trade? Before we even look at trade setups and trades that are ongoing. So if you're struggling, if you're one of those people, if you're an absolute newbie, you don't want to take this course. You want to spend the next 6 months surfing the internet. Don't trade, just surf around, look around at all this stuff. See what else you don't understand about trading, all the terminologies, if you're a newbie, you wouldn't understand what we do. This course is not for newbie. Go look at all 100, 1,000 webinars on how to trade, what trading is about, what is a pip, what is this, what is that. Get used to it, see whether you trade, take a demo, practice, lose it, take 10 demos, practice, lose them. And then after you have about 6 months experience and you would follow me for 6 months, you would be able to make that decision if trading is for you and if you really want to become a professional trader. Maybe by then you would have enough knowledge to make that decision whether you should join this group. Because what we do is not for beginners. So if you're a beginner, just follow me for the next 6 months and do all the research you can do about trading. I'm not selling any beginner's course or any platinum course or any golden course or take our master class or take our super master class. We don't do that stuff. We don't have time for that. What we tell you is if you want to be a professional trader, join us. We will help you to become a professional trader. You pay one single fee for life. What is that fee for? It's for the 6 weeks of training course you're getting. It's not even for the materials of the course. It's not even for the information you get. It's not even for the knowledge you get there. It's for my time. You're paying me for 6 weeks of my time and you have access to me for the rest of your life. Well, that is as long as I'm alive. Because as long as I'm alive, I'll be trading. Good. I think that is enough. If you want more information on that, send me a Skype message. Let me type that for you. MANGAL 457. We only do this twice a year. The next one might be not until mid next year, and hope there isn't a pandemic, because in the pandemic year, we didn't do any. So if you really, really are serious about trading, if this is what you want to do as a career, if this is what you want to do as a second income, if this is something you just want to learn for the purpose of knowing it, then you should join us. Because you may have bought 10 different courses already. They're all useless or they didn't help you there. Because you know why they didn't help you? There wasn't follow-up. Nobody gave you follow-up on them. They sell you a few videos. They probably take you in and train you for a few videos. They give you a few mechanical rules you should use, and then they leave you on your own. We don't do that. Remember, you get lifetime access. You can come every day and ask me questions. You can come 5 times a day and ask me questions about what we are doing. And what is this trade doing, and why we're taking this trade, and why is it not going, and what should we do with it? And why did this pattern didn't work out the way we expected to go? And why are these trades going so amazingly? You get to ask those questions 5 times a day live when I'm in the room. You don't have the money to pay for the course immediately, if you're skeptical, then join the installment program. Pay $100 for the first month. You get 1 month to follow us twice daily. Twice daily, you have access to the live sessions. New York Open, London Open. You're with us in the group. You see what we do. You see the trade setups. You even get a trade news with us, which is an amazing thing. It's a bit risky, but it's amazing. So you get to do that with us. You get to ask all the questions you want. And then decide if you want to join. But you got to do that really quick because you have only 1 week. So if you pay for the installment and you join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you decide, hey, I'm going to join the full course. You can pay the rest and join the full course. That might be a choice if you're not sure. If I was you, I would not be. I'm not sure I'll probably do that. If I had a choice when I was buying a course that the guy said, hey, pay me $100 for first month and then you can decide if to join me, I would have done that. I would have given him $100 and said, okay, let me see what you're doing. But that's not a choice I had. I had the choice of paying $5,000 and then decide if you're going to get anything of value. So you can pay $100, join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, you should be able to make your decision that, hey, I like what they're doing. I want to join this group, because you're going to have live access to us. And then Monday, you can join the training session. That's a choice, right? Okay, let's move on. I took too much time with that. I don't like to do that. Sorry about that. Let's go. So dollar index, remember what I told you. And I've told you, don't follow anyone who tell you, hey, I know 100% this thing is bullish. Or I know 100% it's bearish. Or I'm still bearish in it and I'm still bullish in it. Why? Because they don't know. I don't know. You don't know. No one knows. Even the central bank of I don't know, England doesn't know. Even the Feds doesn't know. No one knows where the heck is going to go. Just get that in you. If you don't get that in you, that you do not know the outcome, you're going to fail every time. So you're going to say, well, if you don't know the outcome, how do you trade? And this is what we are showing you, how you can take advantage of patterns that exist and how they change. It's a new terminology I came up with, the ever-changing pattern. So we show you how they change, we show you how you recognize the change, and we show you how you deal with the change. Right? That is interesting. You're going to start hearing that terminology a lot. Everybody's a wave trader now. That's because I create wave trading. Everybody was Elliott waiver before me. After me, everybody are wave traders. Now everybody start talking about money management. I saw one video, somebody sent it to me, one of my traders, where the guy said he actually named it his name, some kind principles or something like that, and he called his name in it. And then he said, I'm going to tell you what it is about. I believe he's in my group because a lot of the words he was using is exactly my words. And what he's saying is he's going to show you how to manage your trades, rules-based management. Well, that's what we've been doing for the last 2 years. Rule-based management of trades. So a lot of these guys are in my group, but they don't let you know that. And then they go and they take that stuff and, put it out as theirs. So here's the new one they're going to put out, the ever-changing pattern. You will start hearing that when you watch other webinars, people talking about the ever-changing pattern. Well, that's something I'm going to show you if you join our group, how it's done and what it's done and what we do with it. So here's one of an example of what we're looking. We're looking at a flat. A flat normally consists of 1, 2, 3. If you're an Elliott waiver, you would say to people, okay, we're going up. We have A, we have B, we have C. This is going to be your impulse up. If you're following me, I would say, no, wait a second. This thing could be much more complex. This thing could stay here for the next 5 years. So that ABC is not all you need to get. This thing could stay here for like 5 years going like this. And you don't have to trust me or believe me or all of that. You just have to go and check the darn charts. Was there any correction that went on for 5 years? I could show you 3 of them right now. One on the pound card, 2 on the pound card, 1 on the Aussie New Zealand, and there are like hundreds more. Those are just up the top of my, the tip of my finger, I can tell you immediately. But here's what you need to know. You don't stop trading because of that. You don't stop understanding what the chart is doing because you start understanding it better as you go. So remember when I saw this, what I told you? Go back and look at that webinar. There is a very good chance we're making another one and we're going to drop here. So now we're going to show you something else. This is what you call the ever-changing pattern. And look at how I change these. I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to put this one here. And I'm going to take out, let me take out these. And I'm going to take out these. And I'm going to show you something interesting. You wouldn't see anywhere. You wouldn't be able to see this anywhere because there is no one. And I'm going to go back and repeat that. There's no one in the world who knows patterns the way I know them. No one able to see the patterns the way I see them. I'm challenging anyone to that. Come on, find someone who wants to challenge me. I would accept the challenge. There isn't anyone who can do this. I created this method, the way we look at patterns differently from what Elliott Wave is doing. Now that he didn't do a great job, excellent. That is where I start to understand patterns by learning Elliott Wave. But then I figure out there's a lot of, there's a lot of missing parts which I had to fit in. So here's one of the missing parts. Can this now drop to the bottom here? What about if we look at this as an 1, 2, 3, with this being an expanding flat in the middle there? See the difference now? See how everything can change? So when someone tells you I'm 100% bullish and we're still bullish, and I repeat to you 10 times that I'm bullish, it's going to go up. He can repeat it 100 times. That doesn't mean anything. Just like I can say anything I want for the next 1,000 times, that doesn't mean anything. But the chart is not going to follow that, right? The market doesn't really follow what I say. We do the opposite. We don't let the market follow what we say. We follow what the market is doing. That's the difference. We follow what the market is doing and take advantage of it. So once we see that this is a change in structure, if you give me a flag here, I'm selling it to this low. And by then, if it breaks out, I'm all going in, way to the bottom, staying with it. Now, I'm not sure it's going to do that, and I'll tell you why. There's a good reason we don't look at it that way. The depth of this pullback is interesting, and the specific patterns that it's making right now. So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, and one more up before we drop. Now, that the way I'm looking at it, that doesn't necessarily have to be so. It could be so, but not necessarily have to. So we're going to keep this like this for now. And as the ever-changing pattern starts to change, I would show you the change, and I'll show you how to recognize the change, and I'll show you how to take advantage of that change. So what we're looking for this week is a sell setup. I want this to pull back here, and we want to sell it. See this here? Sell that. See this here? Sell that. So that is what we're looking for here, and then we're going to sell it. It could be smaller. It could be a little bigger. It doesn't matter. We're going to be selling this. Now, you're saying to me, well, what if it just turns and go back up straight to the top there? And that's a really good question. Because remember what I said, I always start all my sessions in my trading room with, do you have any questions? Are you in any trade? So that's a really good question. Is that possible? Of course it's possible. Remember, we don't tell the chart what to do. We follow what the chart is doing. That's a rule. But with this very sharp wave coming back, if you go back to the top there, then we have a more ever-changing pattern, because you're not going to just break out. This would have to become a flat, right? Which means when we see those type of setups very often, let me put it correctly, when you see this reversing like this very often in the past, what you would see happen is you would see that it goes and it starts to pull back like this. Go back there, come back here, and then go. That is one of the options of how you would see it develop in the future. You could also see a more long drawn out running flat, which I really don't have time to go through now, otherwise we wouldn't end this webinar today if I keep going through all the possibilities. But when we're in the trading room, we look at every possibility, and then we said, okay, what is the next move? If you have 6 possibilities, what is the next move in each one? And what's the confirmation for the trade? That's the difference, right? It's not about me telling you, I am bullish, and that means it's going to be bullish. That means I'm really dumb, because I'm not prepared to follow what the chart is doing. I'm prepared to follow what I think or what I believe. And if you force your belief onto the chart, it's not really going to work, right? The market doesn't work with your belief system. The market does what it's doing, and you have to follow it and take advantage of it. So next time you hear someone say, I am still bullish on this, or I'm still bearish on this, you look the other direction, right? Because you don't know what it's going to do. You follow, and if the market becomes bearish, when it makes a flag for a sell, you go for the sell. It makes a flag for a buy, you go for the buy. That's just about it. But if you don't understand the general concept, the entire structure and the pattern, you wouldn't be able to do that, right? You wouldn't know that, is this a turning point? Is it actually going lower? Can it reverse from this point? All of that is, if you understand patterns, you would see it coming. So we saw this possibility coming last week. Go back and watch my webinar if you haven't seen. When I saw this, I tell you, okay, it looks like we might get another move like this, and we might drop here again. And we could still go up. We could drop to the bottom. Whichever the market does, not a problem for me. We will follow it and we'll take advantage of it. Let's go, silver. Good. Told you there are more upside in it, right? So bigger structure, we could come back to this top. What we're going to look for now is if it goes back to that top, we're making a 1, 2, 3 bigger flat. That means we're making this one much bigger than we thought. This becomes 1, 2, 3, and that would have ended this flat. But if we get this going up there, we will make this the bigger flat. So this becomes a bigger flat, and I'll take this off. This is how it's going to look. It's going to look like this. It's going to look more like this. You're going to get to the top there, break the top or don't break the top, that's irrelevant. It's going to come back here, and we're going to have another 1, 2, 3 here. So we're going to have something more like this. Now, if you start to make a lot of these flats going up, the question is, at what point do you realize that it is either total downside or it is going to go up? And that depends on how this develops. We're still trading it. We're trading it up and down and everything. And if you were with us, you would know we traded this Friday up. Because there was a flag here. There's a good flag at this point, and we all bought in that flag to the upside. So you can see it. Which means we saw this coming down. We knew this would have to go back up, because we were thinking that there is a running flat somewhere. So let's see what happens now. It still is a corrective structure, right? This is not an impulsive structure by nature. Can that change? Well, I think hardly, because this is really sharp compared. So what we're going to look for is this at some point is going to start to come back down. So there's a good chance dollar index comes to the bottom one more and start going up. Right, so we'll see. We'll get that whole structure when it comes. Take this off. So for now, any buy here, you'll have to have a really good flat before you decide to buy. Don't buy in a small flag. We bought this small flag, but now you'd want to make sure that there's a really good correction here before you decide you can take another impulse up. Otherwise, if it drops, give you a flag. If it drops, give you a flag, go down. And that is the reason why we do more than 1 sessions and about 5 sessions a day, because sometimes these lower degree patterns, which we trade in the 15 minutes and the 1 hour, they keep changing. It doesn't mean that the bigger structure is changing. It just means the structure is getting a little more complicated. But that's tradable. You can take advantage of it as you see it. Gold, pretty much flat, right? So we knew this was going to go up. If you're following me, you would know that we absolutely said this has to go back up. It came pretty low. It came much lower than we thought it would go. And that made us, look at the structure a little different. So we look at this as a 1, 2, 3. If you were my group, you would follow that. This was a perfect buy setup. This was a perfect buy setup. This was a buy setup just before the news. Because those who got the trade closed it there and we re-entered there, and this is going up. Now we broke the top. There was no necessity. We didn't have to break the top. So when you break the top, you're looking at 2 possibilities now. Right? There's 2 ways you can look at this. This is an expanding flat. And we're going to drop here, break this low, and probably break through this low as well. After which we can go back up. That's one option. The second option is, well, this was the low point, right? This was a 1, 2, 3, with this being a contracting flat in here. We looked at that possibility. And this is literally going back up to this top. And in that case, this would become the flat. This running flat would be off. We had that running flat on and off a number of times. What we're saying is that that is a possibility of a running flat. But if it's not that running flat, it's going to be the previous one. There are 2 options of the running flats we have there. So we're saying if the market is doing, it's not what pattern we decide exists, it's what the market is doing. So if the market is actually showing us that this is going to be the corrective structure, it will still drop 1 more before it goes. But the question is, will it get to the top there? Now, if we get flags, we buy. If it starts to reverse, we'll sell. What would the reversal look like? Pretty much it has to do this, make a flag, and we'll be selling this down. It stays in this range, we're buying it. Let's see. There is no trade set up here, and there's nothing you can trade even on the 1 hour. Not until Monday morning comes and it starts to move, and then we decide, hey, we have a sell setup here. This is what a sell setup would look like. Drop, make a flag, sell. What a buy setup would look like? Well, let me find one that has a buy setup in it, probably. We'd have to go somewhere. Buy setup, something like this, for example. We already moved this much. Something like this would be a buy setup, right? So if you get something like that at the top there, you get a buy setup. If it starts to reverse, give you a flag, we're selling. There's a good sell setup forming here. If this starts to drop, sell it. We know where this can go. If it starts to drop, we're coming to break this low. So that is a good sell setup forming there. Actually, you can put an entry order on, but we'll do that in the trading room. Just in case you want to know what I mean, I would put an entry order for a sell here. Everything else will have to be, if you're in my trading room, you'll get all the details of where I'll put the stop and how I'll manage that trade. Would I enter this trade at a much better place? Of course, if I get a flag before the entry point. Euro going up. You remember this pattern? I showed you this pattern. We expect it to break the stop. The thing about this pattern is that it's a big flat at the bottom of a structure. That is rare for impulsive moves. Normally, when you go there, we'll expect this to drop and break the low again. That's normally, that's 80% of the time. 20% of the time, this is just a big flat at the bottom of a start of a very big move. So you get an impulse, you get a flat, and this just keeps going. Not a problem. We know how to deal with that, right? We'll be buying it to this top, and if I'm wrong about it dropping again, which means if it doesn't give us the option of dropping but keep going, hey, good for all of us. We'll be in trades all the way to the top. So this definitely has some more upside. I don't see it dropping from this point, especially since we already, broke up. We almost reversed the last impulse with a big flat here. So at this point, I thought they could make 1 more down and then come, but once we get this much, any flag here would become a buy. Can it reverse? It's possible. It's unlikely, but possible. If that happens, we'll be selling it. But right now, I think we're looking more for buy setups. We don't have the setup yet. We'll have to wait. Since everything moved Friday, most of these setups will happen probably Monday morning or so. So you still have time for now to join us. So Monday morning, you can be in the course with us live. Send me a Skype message, and we will probably be able to get you in the live sessions, either the London session or the New York session, where you'll get to see how we do all of this. Pong. Upside, we absolutely got this. Pound, on the other hand, doesn't have to come down. Here's the interesting thing about pound. It doesn't have to come down. It can just keep going up all the time. This is the absolute low. I don't think pound has ever been that low. I might have shown you that before, but just in case somebody's watching this for the first time, I'm going to show you again. I think that's the absolute low. I don't think we've ever been that low before. So you can go back in the past, and this is the lowest we've ever been. See? That there is the lowest we've ever been. We broke it. So what that means? Oh, that is quite important. That means we might be coming back all the way to this top. See this range here? I'm showing you a range. Right? That is the move up. That is the move doing this, doing this. And this move could actually get back to the top there. I'm pretty sure you're looking and saying, hey, that's not possible. How the hell would the pound get that strong? What needs to happen in England or so for the pound to get strong? You ask me, if I ask you 1 year ago, you think they're going to have an Indian prime minister? Well, no, he's not Indian, but Indian-looking prime minister. I think all of you look at me and say, oh, you're crazy. Not going to happen, right? Never going to happen. Things happen, right? Don't ask why. They just happen. So don't ask me why it's going to go up there. Ask me how it's going to go up, if it goes up, and how we're going to take advantage of it. And that is what I can tell you. That is what I'm very good at telling you. How, if it starts to make these patterns, how we're going to take advantage of it. If it is to go up, how we're going to take advantage. Oh, we can do that. Why? I don't know. When it was here, I told you it's going to drop. When it was at this point, breaking that top, I actually had an arrow looking like this. Not like this, actually. The arrow came to break this low. So my arrow was looking more like this. Only breaking this low and then going back up. I'm wrong. Everybody thought I was crazy at that point. By the way, I have that chart. It's on my Facebook page. I can show it to you. Everybody thought that's a crazy guy. He just draw arrows all over the chart. He just put an arrow there and expect the market to follow it. No, the market was telling us what it's going to do. Follow what it's telling you what it's going to do. Well, I'm not that crazy because it actually came this point. I actually missed it by a lot. Well, honestly, it did turn from this point, right? So I actually got that correct, because when they come here and they break the low, they do need to go back up either for a bigger correction or for the total impulse up. Well, it end up with a bigger correction, and now you made this one. Are we going to make another bigger correction here? I don't think that. But in any case, it's an up move. I don't think we'll have a bigger correction. I think we're going for this stop. You may want to take a snapshot of this and keep it. Maybe how much years from now? Let me see. This one started when? This one started in... Where is... Oh, sorry. Yeah, this one started here in 85, and it ended at the top there. We'll take this stop. We won't go all the way to it. We'll take where the next big stop start. This one ended in 88. That's a 3-year. Come back from now 5 years and tell me what's happening. Take a snapshot and keep it 5 years. If you didn't join my group today, 5 years from now, you would be definitely joining it because you would see it happen. It's very, very likely that it's going to happen. So I don't see pound actually coming down. It could consolidate a lot. It could go sideways. It may make a bigger correction. I really don't see it coming down back. Now, from my experience and patterns I've been looking at, we'll be very, very, very much buying it. Every buy setup we get, we'll take. Once there is a sell setup and we think it's going to make a bigger correction, we'll sell. But for now, to come and break this stop, any buy setup we get, and let me stress that we're not just buying crazy. I'm not telling you it's going to be bullish. We don't know that. I'm telling you, based on the pattern, there's a very high possibility, probably 80% probability of this thing going to the top. So we would be looking for a lot of buy setups. That doesn't mean it's not going to correct. There are going to be a lot of deep corrections where we'll be selling it like crazy. So for now, this is our next trade. We're trying to get this one. Go back to the 1 hour, find a flag and buy. Let's see if we get a flag. We're actually buying this. We bought this on Friday. I bought it. I closed it already. Because it's the news and we know it will correct. This is the low, and I'm pretty sure that we'll make a flag here before we go. So Monday we get a flag here. Monday, Tuesday, and we're trading that up. Let's see. Aussie. Aussie is going up. That was a buy there too that we closed. You definitely should close all your trades Friday afternoon, especially when you trade short term. I think we're making a flag here. I expect this to come back a little here, make a flag, and then we're buying it to break this stop. Unlike the pound going up all the way and the euro structure, Aussie is also not clear, right? It looks very, very much downside, right? This looks like a big correction happening here that could drop one more here before they go back up. And all of these are possible. Pound could go up and Aussie could come down. That is not an impossible thing. We've seen that happen, right? One go up very slow, the next one, I don't know, correct. So upon goes in the correction, as you move up very slow, they'll still have the same effect, right? So keep an eye on them. Let's see it go. This looks very much like a corrective structure. I can show you a few of them why I think it looks corrective. Here is a good example. This one was going up pretty sharp, but you see these big flats here that we're looking at? And we knew then that this was, it wasn't the impulsive move. It's possible, but not. This one was even more impulsive. This was much more impulsive, and they still dropped. This is not that. It doesn't mean this can't take off. Again, anything is possible. You just have to follow the patterns. If it is going to take off, we're going to be in the buy because we're going to buy it to break the stop. As soon as we get that buy setup, we're going to take the trade. And I believe we're already making a buy setup here. We're making a flat at the top here. It kind of has one impulse in it already. We're coming back here, small running flat, and that's a buy setup for us. You see, this was the next small running flat. That was a buy setup. This one, you would see it clear in the 15. See this one? 1, 2, 3. This one is now happening. So if we get this coming down here Monday morning, this is your trade to the upside. What if it drops much more than that? Okay, you still set a buy setup here. What if it starts to consolidate after that? You take off that and you go for the sell. Now, even if you go for the sell, it's going to be short term because it means you're still in this correction. I'm expecting them to break that top. So most likely we're going to have a buy setup rather than a sell setup. But the very first trade that you're going to have will be a buy setup. If the buy setup doesn't work, which means it never goes back up, it doesn't tag you, it starts to drop more, then we'll go with a sell setup, considering that we're still in this correction. I don't think this is going to drop to the bottom because we would probably need to break this up first. Most likely based on patterns. These are all knowledge based on patterns that we've seen in the past and how they behave. New Zealand, okay, we've got one move, got a flat, got one move, got a flat, got another move, break that up, and then anything is possible. Unlike Aussie, once we break that up, but basically Aussie also same thing, break the top, break this top, and then it could drop. So we're thinking Aussie could do two things. It could break this top and then drop, or break that top and keep going up. Right? The same thing for New Zealand, but New Zealand, the patterns are completed already. We almost break that top. So it doesn't have to go very far. It could just go like this and then drop, make a new low. If we get a setup here, we'll be selling. Would I buy this at the top here? I'll probably go buy the Aussie. If I get a buy setup in New Zealand and the Aussie, I'll buy the Aussie. Why? The Aussie still has more to break the top, which is giving me more confidence in the trade. This will still go, and it might even go more than the Aussie. But because there's not a lot remaining to break the top, I'm less confident in it. I think it can just break the top and drop. Now it might break the top and go much more. The bigger structure could go up totally. Or we could go up totally to this top. But the way it's going, see this one, the last time we had that, we're getting pretty much the same thing. So there's a good chance we're going to drop again. The probability is on your side for it to drop. But hey, again, remember, we don't tell the charts what to do. So what if the chart goes up and make a flag above the top? We're buying it all the way to this top. If we break out of that lower trend line there, the trend line is irrelevant. It's just to give me an idea. Are we making a bigger pattern or not? That's all. They can break that trend line and drop again. When they break the trend line, I have to look for structures and patterns to decide that we're still going up, and then I will take the trade. It's not as simple as it looks, right? But it's not that complex as you may think. So we're watching this as a corrective structure, and we might get one more of this down, or one more of this down, or just pretty much like this, and then up. Let's see. Yen. Yen is becoming really, really, really interesting now to us. Finally, we're getting an impulse, and finally, we're getting a correction, not breaking the top again. Now, this correction, it's kind of strange. It looks like a triangular pattern. I remember yen does that before. We've seen those triangular patterns. It could be a contracting flat. It could be a triangle. It doesn't matter. Those are irrelevant terminologies. You just use them to give you an idea how to identify the pattern to somebody else. It's like we have names so that we can identify each other, right? Basically, that's about it. Your name doesn't determine what you're going to do or what you do, right? So it's the same thing here. The pattern doesn't determine where it's going to go, right? You just give the pattern a name, but you look at the structure of the pattern. We look at the character of the person to tell what he's going to do. So you look at the structure of the pattern to tell what are the likelihood of it behaving one way or the other. So the internal structures are telling me there's a very likelihood we're going to break through this. We're going to break straight through this. If we get a flag here, we will start to sell it. When it comes to the bottom, you have to be careful because when they break the low, it will either continue to go or it's going to reverse, make a new high, and then come back. It could be a three-wave structure, and you could look at it like this. See this one, how it dropped, but it's still reverse. So this could drop here and it could still go back up. We look at it as a 1, 2, 3-wave structure. Go back, make a new high, or it could just drop, consolidate, and keep going, right? So we're looking for short-term sell setups. I'm not very keen on selling it inside here unless I can get a good risk to reward trade, which means this has to make a flag here, kind of, do this here, give me this flat, and hope that it breaks. So by the time it gets here, we'll get it to break even. Because it can come tag you here and go back up. So you'll have to manage the trade really, really good in there. You'll have to have a set of strict rules how you're going to manage that trade in there. If you don't take it. Wait for it to break out, consolidate, and then sell. Swiss. Okay. We wanted it to break the top. It actually barely tagged the top. So the question is, can we check? Can we, say, well, that is enough for a breakout? We got this flat here. We had this. We had one. Remember, I tell you, these sharpers always come. Go back, watch my webinar. It happened. It went back. We kind of tagged the top. So if they want to drop this, they can drop it a lot, right? We were expecting this to be deeper. Take that off. It doesn't have to go back up. Now that we broke the top, they don't have to go back up. So the question is, where can it go from there? Well, if this is the highest point, and I think it is because we broke the top, then we can actually come back to this low, and we can even go and break this low. We can even go and break this low. So would that be that yen is falling, Swiss is falling, maybe dollar will start to just drop to the bottom and go? We'll see. It's possible. So this looks very much like a setup that is going to drop. All you need to do is get a flag, get a correction, and we sell. What are the chances of it going back up? There is a chance. If we make a flag here and it drops to this level and start to go back up, we're going to go with this flag. And the one for the running flat, we'll have to wait for it in the future. It's going to still come, right? The single wave for that running flat will still be there. We're going to go with this. We'll take this trade, but we'll watch it as it comes here. Get it in the break. You can see, move your stops and see if it's dropping more or if it's turning. It's turning, you get the hell out of it. We look for a buy setup. If it keeps dropping, you will still be in the trade because you'll just move your stops. It will consolidate, drop, you'll still be in the trade. CAD? I hope what I'm saying making sense too, because if you're not a wave analysis person, I pretty much get it that this might be complex. You might not even understand what I'm saying, like why is he expecting it to go down? Why did he say it's going to fall? I mean, where the hell does he know that from? It's not of me knowing what is going to happen. It's me looking at pattern and saying, in a specific pattern, this is what it should do. So like this, for example, when we were at the top here, when we did this, if you remember, I said any deep pullback like this means it's corrective, we're going to drop. Well, it came to the top and we said, okay, if it's going to drop, give us a flag. It gave us the flag, we got the sell set up. Give us another flag, it give us another flag, we got the sell set up. See? So we expect this to happen and then we get the confirmation it's happening. Well, what do? You take the trade. The difference between this one and the one we have in CAD and we have in yen is that this down move is not very impulsive. This down move coming here can go right back up. This is more corrective than impulsive. So this one is more likely 80% to go up, whereas CAD and Swiss 80% to drop. Right? So is it going to go up? I don't know. Maybe this is just a slow start and a drop. We'll have to wait. Would I sell this at the bottom here? Absolutely, if I get a setup. So what I would need is a correction like this, just like this, only bigger. And if I get that there, we're selling. If I get a small one like this, no, I'll go sell the CAD and the yen. If I get 3 small flags on the CAD, the yen, and the Swiss, I'm selling the CAD and I'm selling the Swiss and the yen, and I'll leave the CAD alone. Right? So it all depends on what pattern you get and where. Sorry, that I was probably maybe mistaken, call the Swiss the CAD. Right? This doesn't have the same structure like the previous two. They should behave the same way. They're all dollar based, and the dollar is the moving factor in them right now. At some point, the dollar stopped being the moving factor, and each is moving individually based on their own, their own value. But for now, I think it's a dollar movement we're all looking at. Euro CAD coming down nicely, going back up too, very nice. So any buy setup here is a good one. If you took the buy setup, you closed it already. That was a buy setup. I think that's closed. That trade is closed already. Take that out, wait for correction, buy again. So we're expecting that this could go back up. If you look at it like this, there's a good possibility that it is going back up. You might want to look at this as a running flat, sorry. Take this out, this one. You may want to look at this as an expanding flat, sorry, not running expanding flat for upside. So it's pretty easy. Wait, you see this one, how it went and it made a big flat there? Not a big flat like that, but wait for a flat here, and then we're taking that trade up. We want this trade up. See, it went up, made a flat, went up, made a flat, go back here, confirm the flat for us here, and then we're in that trade up. Monday, you can get that trade. You can follow us with that trade on Monday live in our training room. So decide if you want to see us do it and how we do it. You're a cat. Pang yen. Okay, we might be getting a good sell setup here. It's not ready as yet. It's kind of going sideways. If that drop, we take the trade. What if this goes up more? Well, we don't have a buy setup as yet. Even if it's going higher to the top, let's say we're assuming that this is a running flat. I don't think it is, but let's make the assumption that it could be a running flat. Right? Pretty much like what the pound dollar has. Remember, the pound dollar has a similar structure. This move up, and this one here with this one, and we're thinking it's going to go up. But that's on the daily. This is on the 4 hour. This is a different structure. If this is going back up, we'll have to wait quite a lot. We'll have to wait for it to go back higher than this, make a flag here, and then take the trade, something like this. See that? And buy it like that. So right now, we don't have that. Right now, we have a possibility of it dropping. This was a sell here. Take that sell off. Now you wait to see if it's going to drop. Put it back on the 1 hour. Your entry order for the sell should be here. If it's going to drop, we will take the trade. This would not be a running flat. Right? I'm just showing you that that could be a possibility. So my traders are aware. If it doesn't come down and it goes up and make a flag, we will buy it. I think it's dropping. Remember, this broke the top on the daily. This doesn't have to do exactly what all the pounds are doing because we broke the top on the daily. So this could come back from this point. And the bigger picture, yeah, it could come back. Can it go higher to this point here? Can we go higher to this point? Also possible. So which one is it? Are we trying to come back to this low, or are we trying to go to that high? Anyone is possible. There are a number of variations of how this pattern, how you're going to look at the pattern. So at this point, we have a sell set up. We're going to put the sell, and if it doesn't come down, starts going back up, we will change that. But that would be by the end of the day on Monday or something like that. So we had a sell set up here. Here's a good example. We had a sell set up to see it was consolidating. It didn't sell. It go back up. No problem. Take it off. You're not in a trade, right? You didn't see a buy setup coming there, so you take it off. So here's the question. This is what we have. This is the big structure. This looks like a huge mess, right? You're probably saying, how the hell would you know where it's going to go when you look at that mess? But when you break up the pieces, when you look at the mess and you break up the piece, you start to figure out what it's doing. So we'll start with this piece. We got one down, one here, one down. This one is going sharp, so it's not the same as this. But remember, we have a sharp wave going into it. So there's a good chance this could go back to the top there, make this flat. That'll be a running flat. If it breaks the top, an expanding flat. After which we got a really sharp move down. So at some point, we would have to come back down here. Now, if this becomes a huge flat in the middle there, we're going to do exactly this back to the top. We're going to get something like this back to the top there. And we still have the sharp move to deal with. So at that point, there's likelihood it's going to come back here. Now, that is a simple, basic flat pattern. That can be more complex. If you think what you have now is a complex pattern, what I just showed you can get more complex. But each piece of it we can trade. Remember, you see that arrow? We traded that down to break this low. Now we're going to trade this up to break this top. No, not necessarily break the top. Sorry, we did break the low. So to go back to the top, I should say. Not breaking it, but go back to the top. What if this starts to drop? You are not going to sell it here. We would look for a different sell setup. If we get a flag here, we're buying to the top. So my thing is we wait for a flag. I believe we will get a flag, and we'll buy it back to this top. New Zealand yen already going up. We anticipate that up move. You can wait for a flag here. No, that was not it. That buy was when before this drop happened. Take that out. That was this little piece here. We thought if they go up, we'll take it. It actually came a little deeper. Now it's going up. So you can always make an argument as to, are we going to use this flat or are we going to use the bigger flat? Both of those are correct, right? It doesn't matter which one it is. Right now it goes, if it starts to come back down and go back up, we're going to use the smaller flat first. We're going to use this one first, right? We're going to say that is 1, 2, 3, one more up, one more down, come down back like this. and then go up. That also is a possibility. So if this makes a correction here, we're going all up. Right, we're going to break that up. We have to break this up. If you remember when this was dropping, I said, no, this can't be downside. Because structurally, that's not how these patterns behave. These patterns normally will break that top before they come down. Even yen was looking like it's going to fall crazily, and we thought, well, okay, this is strange because we didn't break that top. Remember this arrow going up there? It was there before, even before this move came down. That arrow started when this move made this flat here. We forecast this up, we forecast this down, and we forecast that up. Go back and look at this piece of all the webinars in this piece, and you would see that those arrows were there. We didn't put them yesterday because I saw one guy trading live. I mean, these are crazy things I see trading live, and he has a lot of these setups like this. I'm looking at this chart and I'm saying that can't be real. So I wanted to see him do one in the future, put one of those where it didn't happen in the past. And that didn't happen. He had this like this, very much like this. And he had the whole chart was packed with these things, showing that he had made some amazing trades. Actually, one of them, he had the stop so short that you would have been taken out in that stop even before it dropped. But he had all of these in the charts, and I'm thinking, those look amazing. Okay, show me one in the future. Don't show me the arrow after the fact. Show me one of the arrow that was there for like months or weeks or days or hours even. He didn't have a single one on any of his live chart. He was doing live trading. The past in the chart has a lot of these showing you really good trade setups. But in the future, there was not a single one showing you, okay, here is a sell. For example, I'm selling there, I'm buying there, or the opposite even. Not a single one that in the future of the chart showing you this is a trade setup. Not a single one. I actually watched the video for 40 minutes from top to bottom. All the charts here. There wasn't a single one in the future. They were all in the past. And every chart has a lot of them in the past showing you amazing trades. And I'm thinking to myself, well, unless I'm really crazy, I'll believe that. Just show me one in the future. Trading is not about the past. Trading is about the future. Forget about what you did in your past. I don't even care what you did yesterday. I don't care what kind of trader you were yesterday. Show me what you're going to do tomorrow. That is what is important. What are you going to do tomorrow? What is the trade setup you're looking for next? Not what trade setup you made in the past. That doesn't mean anything. So when he was showing me all those amazing trades in the past, and he has this chart, and you look at it and you're amazed by it because there's so many of them. Not a single one showing what's going to be the trade in the future. Now that is what you call it amazing, right? How they call how if you don't question what you see, you fall into that trap. Question what you see. Always say, okay, what is the trade for this one? Not what we did here. What are you going to do here? Not that I put these here now. They were there all the time. Go back and watch the webinars when nothing was here and nothing was here. If those arrows were there, those webinars exist there on YouTube. If you're seeing this for the first time, go back and watch it. And guess what happened when we break that up? See what we show you? We already have one here showing you that there's a possibility that this could get to that top and break that top. This already is staying there. But you're looking at this move when we're saying there's a high probability. Probability for us to go and break that top is really, really high. See, this line is here and that arrow is there. It's not going to be there when we break the top. Remember the yen one when I draw the arrow and the guy said if that happened, he'd stop trading? Hey, by the way, where are you? Who's the guy who would have stopped trading? Send me a message. We're waiting on you. I know you watch my webinars, and I know you'll be watching this webinar. Message me, my friend. I'd like to know what you did. I know you don't stop trading. I told you not to stop trading. And I hope you didn't, because that's not the right thing to do. But hey, we can help you. You would understand how this happened. Just send me a message and I'll see if I can help you. So you learn to trade correctly. By the way, 100 of you don't send me a message, say I'm the guy. Right? Because tomorrow I'll get 100 by say, hey, I'm the guy who did that. How you're going to help me, right? Sorry about that. Let's go. CAD. Trading is fun, right? CAD, we expect this to go back. This is getting very complex now. We had it very simple. We had it 1, we had 2, we had 3. That's a simple structure. Remember when I start today's where I tell you you're going to hear the terminology, the ever-changing pattern? Remember that terminology. You will hear it, the exact terminology, or you hear it in a different way. They will try to change it. But now you're going to hear the term where everybody's talking about the ever-changing patterns, right? It's just a terminology I came up with. Somebody asked me a question about how the patterns change, and I was like, think of the pattern as ever-changing pattern. It just came out like that, and that is how it's going to be spreading, right? Just like wave analysis. You know, wave analysis came up. One of the moderators were arguing with me in trading view, like, hey, you're not an Elliott waver. If you're an Elliott waver, then prove to us you're an Elliott waver. I'm like, what proof you want? He said you have to have a document that you're an Elliott waver. Who the hell give documents that you're an Elliott waver? Who in the world is giving you a document to say you're an Elliott waver? Who is that person? Where did he get the authority to give you a document to say you're an Elliott waver? But I didn't want to argue with him. So I said, no, I'm not an Elliott waver. I'm a wave trader. I'm a wave analysis trader. And I changed it from Elliott wave to wave analysis. No, I think pro wave or something like that I put. Anil Mangal, pro wave trader. Right? And I started to call myself wave trader in all the future webinars and future charts and everything. And yeah, everybody's a wave trader. Nobody's Elliott wave traders anymore. See? So it's interesting. Ever-changing patterns is going to be the new terminology. What that means, you're anticipating a simple flat, and then it becomes a complex flat. So I think this here is going to make a complex flat in the middle. We're going to have this. We're going to get this up. We'll probably come back here, and then we're going to go, because we still have this sharp wave. So it's changing. That didn't stop us from trading it a single bit. We're still trading it, and we'll still trade it. You just trade the changes you see. So I think we'll break this top. We don't have to break the top. It could be contracting flat somewhere in there. But I'm expecting them to come and break this top. Probably see I have the arrow about that level. So if we get a flag here, and we're getting a flag, if this breaks, you get a short trade here, but then look for this trade down. I don't think we have a contract here. The only way that could change, again, this is why doing these webinars in a single webinar, explain all this is difficult. This could be a contracting flat. And if that is a contracting flat, then we will go up, break the top, and then come down. Now, I don't focus contracting flat. There's a reason for that. I don't think it's a contracting flat. You can take this buy, and if you're lucky, they'll break the top. If you're not so lucky, they'll come back here. You'll have to get out of the trade, and then you look for the sell. Let's see which one comes. Aussie yen, we're buying this. You see, we bought it here because we see the pattern. And I think this pattern made a 1, 2, 3 here, kind of make all this there, come back here, and we're going to the top now. Can it make a 1, 2, 3 here? Your question is, well, if we made 1, 2, 3 there, can we make 1, 2, 3, and then go up, right? 1, 2, 3 here, right? So like 1, 2, 3. Come back. This would be the full flat, right? This would be 1. That'd be 2. You'd have to make 1, 2, 3 here, and then go back up. So this would be the up move for this piece only, like that. You make 1, you make 2, you make 3, and then you go back up, right? It still has to go up. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I would just assume this is a 3 wave, and this one is a single wave going down. That ends the structure. So I'm taking this to be the impulse of this. If I'm wrong, this goes 1, 2, so it has to go like this, comes back here, then you get 1, 2, 3, and then we go. Let's see, any flag we buy. I'm not expecting that to happen, so we get a flag here, and we are actually getting a flag here. This making a flag here, that's a buy setup for me. We'll take that buy. Let it go. Where we think this is going to go, again, this is another one where the arrows where they're waiting for you. See, this arrow is still here. It's not going anywhere. We're getting to that top. Once we break out of this structure, we're going to that top. We're already buying it. Euros. Take this out for a second. I'll just show you something in this pattern. It's a little complex, so if you have some couple minutes extra, you'd learn something here. See, the big picture is downside. Go anyway. The big picture, see how this came down very nice? We went up slowly. So this one in the big picture should come in. It should actually come down like this. But it's not exactly doing that, right? You kind of make a small flat, you drop, you make a slightly sharp move, pull back, go there, pull back, go there, pull back, and then you're doing this. Very often, this is a running flat. But both this move and this move are not very impulsive. That's the problem, right? So if they're not very impulsive, it means that, you know, they're not really making a flat, but each one is an individual correction of its own. The next thing you want to say, well, what if we're actually going back from this point? What if we're actually going up back from this point to make a new high? Now, I don't see this as a full correction. It's possible you can look at it that way. And we go make a new high and then come down. I don't see it that way. I'm not looking at it that way, right? But we've seen in the past where that happened. Take this, for example. It came down, this one was here, it came down really sharp. And if you were looking at this, you would say to yourself, this has to drop, right? Because this is the end of that, whatever this was doing going up, whatever that was doing ended. So you didn't expect this to happen and then go there and then come down, right? That was something you probably not see coming. So again, if this is going to repeat that, where we start to do big sideways here, go to the top and then come, we wouldn't see that until it starts to happen. So at this point, what we're looking for is this piece, and this piece is going down really slow, right? You got a flat here, and it's going down slow. Now, this flat could still mean upside. So if we get a flag here, we're going to buy it. If it actually consolidates in this range, we're going to sell it. Here's what a consolidation in that range looks like. We'll sell it and we'll hope that it drops much more, because you already have a big flat in here, which, by the way, we figure out as we were going along. You're in New Zealand. This is dropping too. That was a sell setup. You're out of that trade. Look for another sell setup. It's actually making a flag here, so we could get another sell here. I think we could get another sell there. We'll see. Euro yen. That was a buy because we expect this to go back up. You could look at this as a separate flat. You could look at separate impulse. You could look at this as a correction. You could look at this as the downside, go for a contracting flat, and this could break the top, right? It could still be in the correction for the next week or two. But what we are saying is that eventually this, if it goes there, come back down, and go back and come back down, we'll likely break that top before we drop. If this go, it can break the top and then drop. So if we get flags, we'll buy. We're assuming that this was a buy. Take this off. That is gone. You can see it, right? Simple. An impulse, a pattern, buy. So what we're looking for here now is a flag to buy, right? Make a flag here. This was a sell. This was a sell. This was a sell. This was a sell. It started to go really slow. This was a sell. You could see it, right? They go really slow. You probably got a lot of break-even trades there. This one did get profit. If it make another one here, we'll take the trade back to this top. And when we break that up, we'll see if they reverse or if they continue to go. Remember, I said it could make a number of impulse more in here. We're not sure whether this is a flat of its own or that will be part of the bigger flat. Euro Swiss. Okay, so we have got this one up. At that point, I thought we were going to make this running flat and that this should drop. That didn't happen. There wasn't a trade set up. It actually went sideways. If you sold this one here, right? If we sold this, you had enough time to get out. By rule, we would be out of that trade. If you follow us, if you've been in any of my live session, you will know that by rule, we get rid of that trade really quick, right? Once we see structural change. So the structural change is showing me this. 1, 2, 3. So what next? Well, what we were thinking is that if we get this one here down, if we get this one down here, then we should go up because that will complete this flat. But now that we didn't get that one, life has just got a little more complicated now, because what we have here is this 1, 2, 3. That by itself could mean two things. Take this off. That would be relevant at this point. What that means is that this could actually drop one more here, go back up, then drop, completing all of this, right? Completing this pattern, making this 1, 2, 3, and then go up. Right, that is a possibility that instead of going up from this point, that is what something we can do, looking at this as a flat. If we don't look at that as a flat, if we look at that as, well, I don't know, what if this is some kind of a contracting flat here that we're missing? Then we have this, we got this, we got this, we still have to drop. See, the problem is we still have to have an impulse to the downside. And I don't see where we put this. I don't see this here as a contracting flat, for example, or a running flat. If that is a running flat, then yes, this could continue to go, but no, I don't think so. So we're going to expect it mostly to drop. I'm going to expect mostly drop. So we will wait for the sell setup, and if we get a sell setup, we're coming to retest the low. If we don't get a sell setup, and instead of giving us a sell setup, they consolidate here, we'll buy it. But every buy we take would be with great caution, because until it can prove that we're literally going up now from this point, we'll have to assume that they can still make those two sharp waves, right? See, this one went up very nice, so we'll wait for it, see if this goes up or come back down here and then go up, right? So we'll see. We're in that range and we can trade within the range. Flag corrections for upside, flag for downside, impulse and flag for downside. Euro pound. Yeah, it went a little higher, make an expanding flat, but we're expecting this to come down. So if we get a flag here now, we're expecting this to go down. See that? We're expecting this to be a flat, a 1, 2, 3. Any flag here we get, we're selling. We'll see. What if it makes a flat? Well, then we'll get one more buy, one more up move. Pound Swiss. It's pulling back now, so we might get buy setups. This was drop, sell, sell, sell. Now you're getting buy setups. There's a good chance you might start to get buy setups here. We get flag, we'll buy. Wait for flag buy. See, we got flag, we sell, we got flag, we sell, we got flag, we sell. I think this one was a flag here, but I don't remember if we sold that. The ones you see in the line is actually a sell setup. Pound New Zealand. Well, here's what we're going to do. This looks more like a sell. So we thought this would just come to this level and go back up, right? We're looking at this pattern. We're looking at 1, 2, 3. If you'd seen my chart last week, you'd know what we're looking for, right? What we think these patterns could be. So it came down, but it's going lower. And it looks like you have another sell setup here. So take this off. You have another sell setup here. Okay, that is a big problem. Take this off too. Well, not really a big problem, but that's a much deeper pullback than we expected. So I was expecting this thing to take off from here. Can it actually go much lower? Can we look at this as a big kind of a flat of any kind? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this just make 1 and go down. If you'd expect this to go, you'd expect it to make a 1, 2, 3 like this, right? A 1, 2, 3, or a 1, 2, 3 like this. What if we're making the 1, 2, 3 now? What if this is 1 and we are now making 1, 2, 3, go back to the top and then drop, making a pattern like this? Possible, right? You can always make an argument for that. You can also make an argument for, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. So all of this together is a big correction for upside, right? You put the whole structure like this. Take this out just to, not confuse us, and put it like this. What if we're actually doing this? What if this is what we're actually doing? Take this off. I just look at it this way. This was a slow move up, a pretty slow move. You can see that. You had a big flat, you go up, you make a flat, you go up, you make a flat, you go up, you make a flat, you go up there. So you had a big move up, you had a deep correction, you had a big move up. And now you get this with a big flat in the middle here. You drop, you get this with a big flat in the middle here, go back up, you drop, you get a big flat here, you drop. What if this is actually trying to repeat that move up, right? Might make a big correction here, go up, make another big correction here, go up, and we end up with something like this. For downside, you may say, well, that's far stretch, right? It's hard to imagine that. Well, let's not imagine it. Let's go see if it actually exists. Let's go see if something like that actually exists in the past. Can we get something like this, as big a correction as that, going up like this, and then drop here? I don't think that's far stretch. Right? You can already see this correction here. And then we go up, and we even internally in that one, you have a correction. So big corrections like that do exist in these charts. You can go back, look at a bigger picture, and tell whether that is possible. This looks very corrective. The only question is whether the correction is over or whether we're making it more complex. That's all. If it's over, we probably are going down, right? This is going to go much lower. In the bigger picture, that will go much lower. If it's not over, then this will start to go back up and end up back at the top here. For us, in terms of trading, that is irrelevant. It's just relevant to know, to understand where the bigger structure could go. The trade you're looking for is a sell setup here. It's consolidating. If it give you one single drop, take profit, because it can literally give you one single drop and go right back up. So you'd have to move to break even, and you'd have to take profit. Now, this is a very, very long webinar. I'll try to end it as fast as I possibly can. Let me go. Pangos. Expecting upside, but you might get one more down. We're looking at this as a impulse up. You got 1, you got 2, you got 3. We are expecting this up. Any up move with a flag here, we buy. If it stays there, one more drop and then upside. It's still going up, right? Pound cat, similar structure, very deep drop. See, we got this drop, we got that drop. I don't think we sold this. We didn't sell this because that was too risky to go. We expect it to go back up. I think we're getting the upside. We're getting a reversal here. Well, give us a flag like this, and that would be a perfect buy. We actually bought that. I showed you that trade, right? In one of my webinars, I showed you that trade. So give us the same flag here. Remember, I'm doing the future, not the past. I'm showing you a trade now. What we would do in the future. This we did in the past. And I'm showing you that if we get the same thing here, we're going to repeat that trade for this one. I'm not showing you trades in the past. I'm showing you trades in the future. What is in the past we did, but you can see, you can understand how we use that and what would likely happen here. We study the past and we make the trades in the future. So this was the future when we were here. That future trade was there when we were there, which we did. We're going to repeat the same thing. What if they consolidate here bigger? It will drop more. What does a bigger consolidation look like? Looks like this. This is so you can see those consolidation. It comes here, it goes back to the bottom here, it go back there. Perfect, we're selling. This would be all your correction. Now, based on what I know of patterns, I think this is a very good running flat, and we're likely going to come here. So I have like an 85% upside probability, and maybe, well, that would change if this form, right? If you have to ask me now, about 15% downside. This doesn't look like a 5, right? 15% downside. This doesn't look like 1.5 either, right? 15% downside. But if this comes back to the bottom here, that switches. It's about 90% downside and only 10% upside remaining. So Monday morning, whatever happens with the next move will determine the direction of the trade. Aussie, New Zealand, downside. Aussie CAD, upside. Strange, right? Aussie, New Zealand is downside. Aussie CAD, we're expecting to come back here. This is a little weird one, but we'll figure out it when we get to that top. What is it, right? But it's going back up. It's going to go break that up. Aussie, Swiss. Well, we already broke the top, so they can drop if they want, or they can continue to go up, right? If you just pull it, this is the flat bar. I'm just going to pull it so you see what I'm showing you. This structure going up is a little corrective. So any consolidation that stays here confirms one more upside. Not as big as that, just one more upside. Any reversal from here, make a flag here, and we're selling it to break that low. We already broke the top. We don't need to go higher. So we'll just have to wait and see which one happens. New Zealand Swiss. This thing went up quite a lot, and it's going up really, really slow. Now, we've had that before. Here's a good example. It goes up, but it goes up really, 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 really slow. And then they drop. They didn't even drop fast. They dropped slow too, right? So this could drop and drop really slow. Let's see what you get any trade set up. You don't really have anything in it. This is what you have. You can make an argument of what this whole thing is, but let's see. It could go down or continue to go up so slow until we get a bigger flat. We can. It's not worth trading. When we get a bigger flat, then we'll take the trade for the upside. But as of now, we're looking for sell setups. New Zealand CAD. Okay, this drop pullback. I think most of my traders got break even. That was in the live news. We took break even off. There's a specific way we traded. So you end up with 1, 2, 3. It did break the low, and now it's going back up. That's just turned out to be a flat. Right? So you got it 1, 2, 3. We thought it's going to drop through the bottom, but they made 1, 2, 3, and now they're going up. So good. That's a flat of its own. Wait for a flag, break this top, and then look for the sell again. All right, so break even on that trade. Wait for it to go up. Wait for a flag, buy it again. See, it's going up with a lot of nice corrections. This is the only one that is not so corrective like these. So maybe we'll end up with a bigger flat here. This could come back like this more, like that. Go back up there. Don't break the top. Maybe even make more corrections. Come back here, make a bigger flat, and then go. That could happen. We could see that pattern develop maybe, later in the week, and then we'll definitely be buying. Now, will we sell this if we see that? Absolutely. So it all depends on how this piece in the middle behaves. It's total upside or it's downside. It's going to, not downside, it's going to be a consolidation for a bigger flat. CAD Swiss, definitely selling. If you got tagged in the trade, you came out. So this was an entry that you shouldn't keep. But if you got close the trade weight, it's still making a flat, right? It's making a running flat. Pull back there, make a running flat, wait for it to go up, put an entry. We're looking for that sell. So catch-ups, you can actually put it as a sell. My traders pay attention to that. This trade is very, very active. As soon as it gets back to that top, put the entry order on for the sell. It can drop. Natural gas, the buy was amazing. For my traders, I'm not going to show that here, but you should have closed and re-enter. You understand that, right? You're still in the trade and it's going good. This is where you need to take profit. We're looking at this now as a 1, 2, 3. That means this could come back. This could happen, that could happen, this could happen, and then go. And that is what the reason we bought it is because that was the forecast. Now, can it actually take off? Maybe. If it takes off, wait for a flag above the top, then above the structure, then buy. US oil, good buy if you took the buy. Put the entry above the last impulse, good one. Same for the UK oil. If you took the buy, it should be above here. Right? Well, you know what that is, right? That was in case anything happens. That was if the news was going to drive it really strong downwards. But the pattern is for the buy short term. S&P 500, it's consolidating here, and that means we are likely going to go lower. This sell setup is really valid. And we're just getting a bigger consolidation. Let's see, we'll figure out that when we think it's over, and we're going for the sell. I think we're going to be here a while more. Right, so this sell was amazing. This sell here was amazing. Drop, wait for this, we'll sell it. NASDAQ would be a sell. Not as yet, not as yet. By the way, if you're tagged in this, you either take a loss or you close on the way down back, depending on when you got in the trade. If that was news, we didn't take it. Should have pulled it before the news, right? So if the news was what right, that pull it before. But if anything, you know how we trade, right? So I think this is an expanding flat. Why are we making another flat here? So then we'll take off the expanding flat, assume that what they're doing here is the bigger flat. Right, that's a bigger one. It's still downside. And US 30. US 30 is the perfect one. You know why. Right, this setup is the perfect setup for the sell. Go for it. Wait for it to finish. It's still actually in progress. I don't think it's finished. Keep it under the low for now and see if this piece develops more. Makes more consolidation and then drop. It's a good sell setup. Next, nothing. Nifty, nothing. So what I'm going to do, this webinar is super long. I'm going to stop it. This is going to be Forex only. Well, you got some stocks inside, Forex and stocks. And the next one, I'm going to do crypto separate. So if you're one of our crypto followers, don't worry, you're going to get your video separate from this one. Please like, share, comment, whatever you like. If you follow me and you think what I'm doing is interesting, share the videos. Give it to a real trader and make sure he knows, not just people who are aspiring to trade, but people who are already traders, right? Trading but not getting success, or getting very little success. This might help them. It might change what they're doing. New traders, you can watch as much as you want, but you will have to wait in the course. If you join the group now, you can, and we've had traders do this, new traders join the group, wait for the courses to happen, 1 or 2 or 3 courses, and then start trading live. At least 2 courses until they caught up with all the terminology. So I'm going to end this here. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.